Wow. This is damn, bro. Like this is really the world that we live in right now. That Magomed Ankalaev is the UFC light heavyweight champion. He has beaten Alex Pereira, who and is one of the few to make Alex Pereira look human, other than Israel Adesanya. Alex Pereira, who was the face of the UFC, one of the most electric and entertaining champions, going on an absolute insane run, gets stopped short by Magomed. And overall, I was really enjoying the card overall, but the way it just ended was really just left on a bad note. Obviously, wanting Alex Pereira to win, and instead Magomed Ankalaev wrestles out the decision. And yeah, it's not the way I wanted to wake up today. Just coming to a realization that we live in a world where Bilal Muhammad and Magomed Ankalaev are UFC champions. But this is what it is in the UFC in 2025. It's very unfortunate. But anyways, overall, I think immediately the conversation will shift to Alex Pereira gets an immediate rematch, being that he was a champion that defended 3 times. And it was a very close fight. Some could argue that Alex Pereira won rounds 1, 5, and I mean a couple of the rounds, like probably 1, 4, and 5, maybe. I mean, Alex Pereira was almost winning that 5th round if Magomed didn't immediately go for the grappling and the clinch to kind of suppress Alex Pereira from doing anything on the feet. Because towards the end of the 5th round, Alex Pereira had that left hook jab that landed a little bit on Magomed, but barely even phased him. I was actually really surprised because in the beginning of the fight, in the first 2 rounds, Magomed was pretty much keeping it to the feet. But Magomed was more aggressive with his combinations, the striking. Alex Pereira was being a little more reserved in the first 1 to 2 rounds when Magomed was keeping it on the feet. Then you get to round 3. That's when Magomed just starts to deploy his wrestling and using the advantage of control time. And that was pretty much the story of round 3. But Alex Pereira, I thought he won round 1. And then Magomed clearly won round 2 with his striking combinations. And he had that scary knockdown with Alex. I mean, that was crazy. To see Alex Pereira get his lights turned a little bit fuzzy for a minute was just crazy to see. To see that Magomed had Alex, and had the round not almost been over, I think we potentially could have seen a TKO finish by Magomed Ankalaev. I have no doubts about that. Alex Pereira was in real trouble in that moment that Magomed landed that punch. And that was crazy. But fortunately, Alex Pereira got out of that round. And I thought we could see him, recover. I came into this fight thinking that, of course, Alex Pereira was going to face adversity with Magomed. But just like Khalil Roundtree, that was a good test for Alex. Took him to a little bit of the deep waters with the exchanges and the striking. And then Alex Pereira found a way. But Magomed is just a different type of animal. He looked so tall and big in that cage with Alex. Alex is pretty tall and big too, but so was Magomed. And Alex Pereira was, of course, trying to get with the leg kicks, trying to chip away and get Magomed a little bit less mobile. And that's how I thought the fight would go. I thought Alex Pereira would continue to light him up with the leg kicks, despite him being, a southpaw fight stance. Get Magomed wobbled with leg kicks, get those legs nice and red with the welts, and then try to phase him on the feet, get that left hook jab going. But ultimately, Magomed never let that fully deter his mobility or his aggressiveness with the combinations that he was throwing at Alex. And going into the 4th and 5th round, I'm like, when is Alex going to turn it up a notch? When is Alex going to just unload the clip and go all in and unload on this guy? Because the fight, him and his corner probably knew that it was going Magomed's way. The crowd was booing. that means the fight's not going your way. You know, Magomed's controlling you with all of his wrestling. Although, and this is one of the frustrating things about the decision making, though, but this is the unfortunate reality of UFC scorecards and control time matters. But Alex Pereira defended every single one of Magomed's takedowns. Magomed Ankalaev did not get one single takedown on Alex Pereira. Not one. So, Alex, I must have misunderstood your takedown game. You know, that was amazing to see you be able to defend every single one of this guy's takedowns, which was probably his backup option. But, yeah, still, Magomed with the control time. And Alex Pereira, he never turned it up. Even in the 5th round, he never really got his into his flow state or turned it up a notch with aggressiveness, because going to round 5, you're like, dude, you have 5 minutes left to try and knock this guy out to hold on to your light heavyweight title. I mean, my optimistic thought was that, okay, going to the decision, it could be a draw best case. But then you see them hand Dana White the belt and then tell Dana White who wins before Bruce Buffer announces it. And you immediately could see on Dana White's facial expression, that's a good tell sign to see of who won, if Dana White, by Dana White's face and body language. And immediately I knew from Dana White getting the reaction that Magomed was going to win by unanimous decision. It was such a close fight, but maybe not so close. I mean, I'd like to think it's close, but Magomed did seem to be always on a little bit on the gas pedal in this fight. And yeah, Dana White had to put that belt around Magomed Ankalaev. He's the new UFC light heavyweight champion. Damn. And Alex Pereira, I mean, you go back to the drawing board with him. I mean, any fight with John Jones or Tom Aspinall's out the window now. But I think you could do an immediate rematch. I think that is fitting. Or I think Yuri Prochazka could be well suited for being the first challenger to Magomed's title reign. Yuri is mixed with striking, grappling. He's just a chaotic fighter overall, and those clash of personalities. But we are entering the Magomed Ankalaev era now, and it's an unfortunate reality that this is our new champion. He's not going to be so entertaining on the mic. There's no catchphrase. There's no amazing walkout that he does. I've seen his highlight reel a lot now through the build up to this fight, and he did have some knockouts. But until then, and this was something I forgot to mention in my last video, but Magomed's resume was not necessarily up to par with Alex. He had a split decision with Jan Blachowicz, but he beat Anthony Smith and Johnny Walker and Alexander Rakic. That's not necessarily the murderer's row of light heavyweight. Alex Pereira has gone through Jamal Hill, Yuri Prochazka, both former champions, Khalil Roundtree. He's also beaten Jan Blachowicz in his light heavyweight debut. So that's when it came to resume coming into this fight and who's Magomed has beaten, which I thought, okay, but Magomed hasn't faced a guy like this. Alex Pereira with the power. I would have liked to even see Magomed really get tested with one of Alex Pereira's left hook shots, but we never got there. Alex Pereira never found the opening to unleash a combination and let the left hook seep in and phase this guy a little bit. And it's just, yeah, who knows where we go from here. It truly is a shame. It's truly devastating to have to see that Alex Pereira is no longer UFC champion in the UFC, but he's still a huge star, and whatever they do with him next, I know it's still going to be a big deal, a spectacle, and we just got to appreciate him while we have him. We don't know how long we have left with Alex Pereira. He's 37 years old, and after losing the title now, and it doesn't make sense for him to move up to heavyweight, we'll see what they could do with him. If he could retain that title one more time, that'd be pretty legendary. And yeah, Bruce Buffer gave him the one and only Not many fighters get that special honor of being called the one and only in their introductions. John Jones, Conor McGregor, and just last night, Alex Pereira got inducted into that club. He really is a special, one-of-a-kind fighter, still an insane resume. But now he looks just a little bit more human. Fighters can now see a little more of what the game plan is against him. And we'll see what happens next. I think the most likely outcome is a rematch. Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fizeiv. I'm so happy Justin Gaethje won this fight. I know that a lot of my friends had parlays that started with Justin. But even though the shocking that it was Rafael Fiziev that was the favorite in this fight. But it was such an entertaining fight still. Mad respect to Rafael Fiziev for showing up and putting on a great fight. Like, there were some moments where he was getting the body kicks to Justin Gaethje, landing some uppercuts in the clinch. Great, like, clinch exchanges. And Justin Gaethje did a good job with kind of defending the takedowns. There was a point in round one where I thought Rafael Fiziev was just going to control Justin Gaethje the entire round by sitting on his head. Justin Gaethje was in a bad position there. His head was behind Rafael Fiziev's butt. Like, it was, I thought the rest of the round was going to be like that because he was in a very bad position. But thank God Justin Gaethje got out of that and took it back to the feet. Justin Gaethje, of course, was throwing these haymakers that if one of them landed would have really just rocked Rafael Fiziev's world. He did have that big uppercut in the second round, I believe. That big uppercut that knocked him down, and I really thought that Rafael Fiziev was finished there. Justin Gaethje tries to follow it up with a submission, but ultimately couldn't get around the neck, and Rafael Fiziev makes it out of the round. I really thought Justin Gaethje was going to finish the fight there, though. And third round also, Justin Gaethje just does enough on the feet. Had way more significant strikes, but Rafael Fiziev came to fight. They put on an absolute amazing fight. I kept on thinking to myself, like, imagine if this was Dan Hooker versus Justin Gaethje right now. Whatever. I got to get over that. So yeah, Justin Gaethje gets the win. And it's amazing he did, because if he would have lost, I'm sure he probably would have retired right there and then. There would have been, he even said, like, Rafael Fiziev, if he beats me, this is like he's about to take my life away, since I probably won't have any chance left to the title. Now that Justin Gaethje has won, it's hard to believe, but he is the number 3 ranked lightweight in this stacked lightweight division. Not that it's hard to believe, but just sometimes I forget myself that he's number 3 when you got killers like Poirier and Oliveira. But Justin Gaethje's number 3, so with this win, he is now in conversations to get the next fight versus Makhachev. Lightweight is insanely stacked with depth, especially now that Ilia Topuria is entering the division. So we'll see what happens there if they decide that Ilia Topuria will get that fight, or Justin Gaethje is going to fight Islam Makhachev, because Islam Makhachev did say he would go do a fight with Justin Gaethje. And just a quick side note, but I think with Ilia Topuria, it really comes down to only 2 guys, and that's Islam Makhachev or Charles Oliveira. I think either they do an Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira co-main to a John Jones Aspinall 317 pay-per-view, or Islam Topuria headlining, or also a co-main event. In the best case scenario, you have 2 mega fights on the same card. I'll get more into that, but yeah, Justin Gaethje, phenomenal win in another insane war between these 2 men in their second fight. So really happy that Justin got the win, and we'll see what happens next with Rafael Fiziev. I believe that's his 3rd straight loss, but can't really take anything away from him coming into fight on 11 days' notice, right? He looked really good, though. This was my first time seeing Rafael Fiziev fight live, and his striking exchanges looked really crisp and really good. He's a Muay Thai fighter. So, yeah, great fight by these guys. Next fight, Jalin Turner versus Ignacio Bahamondes. So, yeah, this fight was another fight that went quick in the first round. And these guys were going right at it in the first, minute with some great striking exchanges. Jalin Turner was turning it up. Ignacio Bahamondes wasn't backing down. I thought we were in for a banger of a fight. That would be an entertaining 3-round fight. But man, did Ignacio have other plans? And he ends up getting the positioning. Actually, he was on the bottom when Jalin Turner was striking him up top. Jalin Turner was trying to batter this guy, like really just give it to him with these crazy hard punches from top position. And Ignacio, before you know it, Ignacio has him in like a triangle chokehold with his legs firmly around Jalin Turner. His hand through it is completely, I don't want to say like he's no longer able to utilize it. And you got Jalin Turner tapping in a first round. Ignacio Bahamondes gets the first round submission with freaking Bilal Muhammad in his corner, screaming, yelling all this shit. Like, not going to lie, I don't like Bilal to the point that I wasn't really... Also, I was rocking with Jalin Turner, but I like Ignacio kind of. I like his energy. And, yeah, Jalin Turner loses another fight through some poor decision-making, but he looked really good in the beginning of that fight. And Jalin Turner has had some really good fights with Mateusz Gamrot, Dan Hooker. Could have beaten Renato Moicano if he didn't get too excited too early. He, of course, mauled King Green. But Jalin Turner reportedly has retired after this fight, after a first-round submission, which is a little surprising when a guy still this young and still in, I guess, what you could say his peak, his prime of a fight career, even though he's not necessarily performing like a prime fighter. He's losing. He lost his last 2. But to retire now because you got first round submission, you were just a ranked fighter in the lightweight division. I don't think that's anything to turn your back on. But okay, if Jalin Turner's retiring, then he's retiring. So yeah, Ignacio, a prospect on the up. He's probably going to get Jalin Turner's ranking, and we'll see what happens with him next. Then Amanda Lemos versus Asmin Lucindo. Didn't really have much to say on this fight. As you know, with woman fights on main cards, they usually are wrestle fests. Nothing special about it. I don't understand why the UFC puts fights like this on the main card. If it's not for a title, or if there's no real story behind it, why put us in a bathroom break, and get your food type of fight? These fights are installed in the main card for us to get up and go to the bathroom, maybe grab some more food, some munch, and then sit back down for the next fight, because these women fights just ain't it when you put them on the main card. Like, UFC, I don't know what you're doing. So yeah, whatever. Amanda Lemos gets the win. Wasn't really paying attention. Then this, holy shit. Maricio Ruffy versus King Green. I knew that Maricio Ruffy was going to style on him, right? I knew that Maricio Ruffy was going to just masterclass King Green throughout the fight, but I did not expect it to go this quick and in that insane of a way. Maricio Ruffy just had one of the most insane knockouts I've ever witnessed live. A beautiful spinning wheel kick that dropped King Green like he was just a sack. I don't even want to say, bro. Like, King Green just dropped dead. You just saw him crumble. His body fold. Like, his spine did a little dip into the mat, and he just crumbled. A beautiful spinning wheel kick, like what you see from ninjas, on King Green's dome. Yeah, King Green is just a goof. Like, he should just retire at this point. Like, he just lost another fight in the first round where he got put to sleep back-to-back. Losing to Paddy Pimblett, losing to Maricio Ruffy. They're just feeding King Green to these insane up-and-coming lightweight prospects to just get absolutely obliterated. And yeah, it's King Green should just retire. He's had some really bad losses over the past couple of years. Got like his lifespan shortened by getting that insane beating and head damage from Jalin Turner. You get choked out and slept by Paddy Pimblett, and now you got wheel kicked by Maricio Ruffy. That was the type of performance we need to see from Maricio Ruffy. I know people are a little bit underwhelmed by his last fight versus Line Top, where he didn't necessarily get the finish and went to decisions, but he got the win. This is exactly what we need to see from Maricio Ruffy. Head kick on King Green in 2 minutes in the round. And he is just, like, it's crazy. The fighting nerds are insane. They are taking the UFC by storm. Gene Silva and Carlos Prates fight next month. Incredible fights for them to really showcase their skills. Some people are saying that Maricio Ruffy is the best out of the four. And after that fight, he might damn well be. I mean, it's not saying much that he beat King Green, though. But he'll be ranked now. He's going to probably get a top 10 fight next. Hopefully, it's a main event in a fight night like he wanted. And the fighting style is so similar. It's so symmetrical to Conor McGregor. The way he hovers back and forth with his hands up, the way he strikes, the way he looks. He's just so Conor McGregor-esque. Maybe more Conor McGregor-esque than Ilia Topuria. Just the build, him, the way he looks. Sensational, amazing win versus King Green. Just insane, violent KO. I remember that was one I jumped out of my seat for. The spinning wheel kick to take off King Green's head. And King Green really should just retire. He's been in the UFC forever, but at this point, what are we even doing? Why are you still around fighting when you're getting styled on like this? I don't know, unless you want to continue to be like a prelim in most cards versus old head. See if you still got it. I really thought King Green would take more caution with the fact that he lost his last fight in the first round. I thought he would try to survive enough to get out of the first round. I mean, this guy, King Green's a real fighter, though. He's like, when he comes in, he's definitely got that presence. Like, he's straight out of somewhere. But yeah, like, crazy result. Maricio Ruffy. Yeah, people are gonna be remembering this knockout for a long time. This knockout stands out as one of the craziest knockouts in UFC history. Right? Yeah. And then nothing too exciting on the rest of the card. As we know, 2 fights fell off yesterday on fight day. That included Curtis Blaydes versus Rizvan Kuniev, the featured prelim. So Joshua Van ends up getting the win versus Ray Tatsuria. Ray just did not have any of his wrestling going. Could not take down really Joshua Van. Joshua Van did a great job of compressing that. So Ray Tatsuya, yeah, I mean, you got to go back to the drawing board and see what you could do better to try and take down. Pretty cool, though, that these guys are both 22 and 23. I think the first fighters to fight from that were born in 2000. So, a young blood fight. And Bruno Ferreira, good fight over Armin Petrosian. Carlos Leal gets the finish by KO versus Alex Morano. And yeah, was lighting him up on the feet. Another Brazilian welterweight prospect with a statement win. Marion Santos versus Francis Marshall. Unfortunately, I missed this fight. It was right when I pulled up to my boy's house that this fight was going on. But I saw the aftermath that people were saying that it was robbery, that Francis Marshall should have won. Marion Santos, like, people were saying that the first 2 fights were not making the card looking up to what it could be with some bad decisions to the scorecards. But yeah, overall, the card ended up being good with finishes and a submission. Crazy KO to open up the main card. Maricio Ruffy with one for the ages highlight KO, wheel kick. Jalin Turner, that you got the Ignacio Bahamondes submission, an absolutely entertaining war with Justin Gaethje and Rafael Fizeiv, and then the unfortunate result, for me at least, of Magomed Ankalaev beating Alex Pereira. A lot of people lost money last night. A lot of people that Alex Pereira lost. So yeah, that is my reaction to UFC 313. See you in the next one.